Great. Good morning. Let's continue. So let's look at section 9.3. And this one is quadratic equations using quadratic formula. So we are going to derive the quadratic formula. So we're going to see how we can derive the quadratic formula. Okay, and we are going to use the completing squares to derive the quadratic formula. So if we have the quadratic equation of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, we have the equation of that form. Then how can we use the completing squares to solve that? How can we use completing squares to solve that? So what is our first step? What is our first step? What is our first step? What was our first step? What do you do? Number one, make coefficient of x squared to be equal to make the coefficient of x squared to be equal to 1. In this case, we have ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. So making this coefficient to be equals to 1, we divide all sides by 1. So you get x squared plus b ax plus c over a equals to 1. What is the second step? What was our second step? What do you do next? What do you do? Number 2, we isolate the variables. The variable terms in one side. Isolate the variable terms on one side. That means you take the constant to the other side, you leave the variable on one side. So x squared plus b over ax equals to, we take this one to the other side, minus c over c over a. Then what was the next step? What is the next step? So you divide that, you multiply the coefficient by what? Half, right? Or you divide by 2. So number 3, identify coefficient of x, then that coefficient x. In this case, our coefficient of x is what? B all over a. Then half of this coefficient will be what? B all over 2 what? 2a. And then we do what? Then square. Square. Then half. So we need to square this. So it will now be b all over 2a. Then what is our fourth step? We do what? We add, right? We add this one to the equation in both sides. So we add b all over 2a square in the equation, whereby it will now be x squared plus b all over a x plus b all over 2a squared. So you add in both sides. So minus c all over a plus b all over 2a squared. Then what is the fifth? So the fifth one is, now you check the left-hand side, and then you see that that is a perfect one. That is a perfect square. Then you do what? So this forms a perfect trinomial. Square. So now becomes x plus b all over 2a, and then you do what? Square equals to minus c all over a plus b all over 2a. So number 6. So we have our x plus, so we have our last term here. Yeah, so we can simplify this last term here. So it will be minus c all over a plus b all over 2a square is similar to what? Minus c all over a plus what? B square all over what? All over 4a square, right? 4a square. So we square the all of this. So when we square, it becomes b square all over 4a square. 4a square. And then we do what? We add. We add. So when we add, then what is our LCM there? What is our least common multiple there? It is what? 4a square. 4a square. 4a square. So 4a square divided by a, you get what? You get a, 4a. 4a multiplied by minus c, you get minus 4ac. Okay. 4a divided by 4a square. 4a square divided by 4a square is 1. 1 multiplied by b square is what? 1 plus b square. So this can be written as, so you can just bring this b to this side, check the minus there, so it will be similar to b squared minus 4ac all over 4a squared. So that is one side. So therefore, then number 7, x plus b all over 2a squared is now equals to b squared minus 4ac all over what? 4a squared. 4a squared. Now from there, what do you do? From there, what next? What is the last step there? We do what? We use what? Square root property. Square root property. So then using square root property, then this becomes x plus b all over 2a equals to plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac 4a squared. So then finally, we can take this to the other side. So it becomes x equals to minus b all over 2a plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over what? 4a squared. 4a squared. Now, the square root of b squared and the square root of 4a squared. What is the square root of 4a squared? What is the square root of 4a squared? 2a. So our x will now be equals to minus b all over 2a plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over what? All over 2a. So what is our least common factor there? 2a, right? So finally, our x equals to 2a here minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4s. And that is our quadratic formula. That is our quadratic formula. This is our quadratic formula. So our A, B, and C. A, B, and C are real. A, B, and C are real numbers. A, B, and C are real numbers. Now, any question after that? Any question after that? So you can use this formula to solve the quadratic equation. You can use that formula to solve the quadratic equation. So you can be given, so in this case, you can solve this quadratic of this form using this formula. So you have the value of A, which you can be given, B is given, and C is given. So you can just come and do what? Substitute them here. You just do the substitution. So actually, this one is the most accurate. So this is the most accurate, and you can actually apply to any quadratic equation, any quadratic equation. Okay, now this x equals to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. This is a quadratic equation. Now, this b squared minus 4ac the b square minus 4ac, this one here, this b square, this one here, determines the kind of equations, determine the kind of equation that you have, or the kind of solution that you will get from them. So it determines the kind of solution you will get. So this b square minus 4ac is called the discriminant. It's called the discriminant. Now, now, number one, if b square minus 4ac is equals to 0, if this b square minus 4ac is equals to 0, if this one is equals to 0, then that becomes the square root of what? 0, right? Which is 0. So if this one is 0, then that means x is equals to what? Minus b all over what? 2a, right? So, and since it is quadratic, so that means then x will be equals to minus b all over 2a. Now, since this one is quadratic and it is of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, then if it is quadratic, then it means we have two solutions. We have two solutions. So if we only have this one, then therefore, in this case, our x will be 2 of this kind. Like, for example, which one is that? We will see an example of that. Like, for example, x squared. Okay, we will see an example on how that. But here, if this is equals to 0, then we only have one solution. We have one solution, and that solution is minus b all over 2a. They are supposed to be 2, but they are of the same kind of minus b all over 2a. Then in this case, we only have one solution, which is minus b all over 2a. Now, number 2, if b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0, if this is more than 0, if this is more than 0, then it means that we will actually get a square root, or yeah, we'll actually get a square root of that. So then we will get two solutions, which are what? Which are distinct. We'll get two solutions which are distinct. Two different solutions. The first one is one solution of the same kind. So one solution. So two different solutions, yes, but two solutions of the same kind for the first one. This discriminant there is 0. But if it is greater than 0, then we have two short solutions of different kinds. Number 3, if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, what happens? What happens there? If this one is less than 0, what is happening here? If it is a negative, right? So the square root of a negative is what? So we have two complex solutions. Two complex solutions. So we have two complex solutions. So the solutions will be complex. And that means they will be less than 0. So it will be the square root of a negative something there. Since it is less than 0. So then it will be pi, the square root of that value, which is there. Any question after that? Any question? So you can use this to determine the kind of solutions that you are going to get from the quadratic equation. So it's either you get one solution if you substitute these values of b squared minus 4ac. So if you find b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0, then it means we have only one solution. So if we take b squared minus 4ac to be greater than 0, then we have two solutions for this, which are the same. And then if this is less than 0, then it means we have two complex solutions. Two complex solutions. Okay, example number 1. Example number 1. Use the discriminant to determine the number of solutions to the quadratic equation a minus 4a squared minus a plus b equals to 0. So, minus 4a squared minus a plus 4 equals to. So this is a quadratic equation. I use a discriminant. That discriminant over the b squared is 4ac. The number of solutions there. So what is our a here? Our a is equals to what? Our a is equals to what? Our a is equals to? What is our a? 1. What is our a? What is our a?
-4.
-4. What is our b?
-1.
-1. What is our c? 4. So this is of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. And this is our a, this is our b, and this one is our c. Okay, okay. So that is all that form. Now, using this discriminant, b squared minus 4ac, determine whether it is equals to 0, it is less than 0, it is greater than 0. So what are the number of solutions there? So our b is -1. So -1, and then you square minus 4. Our a is -4. Multiplied by our c is 4 there. And this is equals to what? 1. This and this. So it will be plus, right? Negative this one times that one is plus. And then what? 4 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 4. And this is equals to what? 65. And this is greater than what? 0. So that is greater than 0. So therefore, this means there are two distinct solutions. Which are what? Which are real. They are not complex. They are real solutions. They are real solutions. Any question to this? Okay, number 2, use the same way to determine the number of solutions here. 8b squared minus 9b plus 9 equals to 0. Use the discriminant to find the number of solutions there. So what is our A here? Our B is equals to what? -9. And our C equals to? Using our discriminant, b squared minus 4ac, and this is equals to our b squared is minus 9, and then we do what? Square. Minus our a 4 multiplied by a is 8 multiplied by 9. Now, without even solving this is like 81 minus 4 multiplied by 8 multiplied by 9. Without even solving this one. This one is bigger than this, right? Right? This one is more than this one. So it means this is what? This is what? Negative. So it means this is less than what? This is less than 0. This is less than 0. So if it is less than 0, then that means it is what? So 2 complex. 2 complex solutions. Okay, number 3, minus 81a squared plus 90a minus 25 equals to 0. Equals to 0. So determine the number of solutions there. So our a is equals to -81. Our b equals to, and our c equals to. So b squared minus 4ac is the same as 90 squared minus 4 multiplied by minus 81 multiplied by 25. So what do you get? What do you get? Oh, this is minus 25. So what do you get? What are you getting?
-81,000 and 81,000.
So 90 square is what?
81,000.
81,000. Minus, this is 81 multiplied by 4. So this is 100 multiplied by this. So finally, this is minus what? 81,000. So this is equals to, this is equals to 0. So it is equals to 0. Then that means there is, so there is one real solution. Since the discriminant is equal to 0, discriminant is equal to 0. Okay. Now that is how you can check the kind of solution that you're going to get in when you're solving using the quadratic formula. Now let's use the quadratic formula to solve some of the quadratic equations. So solve the following quadratic equations using quadratic formula. So the following quadratic equation using quadratic formula. 2m squared minus 2m multiplied minus 10 equals to 0. Minus 10 equals to 0. So you can check the number of solutions that you're going to get there by using the discriminant. So if you use the discriminant, then b squared, so our a equals to 2, our b equals to minus 2, and our c equals to minus 10. Our c equals to minus 10. Now using b squared minus 4ac, this will give us b squared is minus 2 square minus 4 multiplied by our a is 2 multiplied by our c is minus 10. So since there is a minus here, there is a minus here. When you square this one, you get 4. Since this and this will be plus, right? So plus. So if there is a plus there, then this is equals to what? 80. Then this is equals to 84. And this is greater than what? 0. That means there are 2 real solutions. 2 real solutions. Now, you can use this to know the number of solutions. And then, oh, you can just ignore it. You can just go directly to the quadratic formula, and the formula is x. In our case, here is what? Is m. M equals to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over what? All over 2a. All over 2a. So we're looking for our m. So what is our m? Our m. So we just substitute the values there. A, B. So we know A, we know B, and we know C. So our B minus, our B is what? Minus 2. Plus or minus the square root of our B is minus 2 square minus 4 multiplied by A is 2 multiplied by C is minus 10. And then divide by what? 2 multiplied by A. Our A is 2. A is 2. That is 2. So our M equals to minus times a minus is 2 plus or minus the square root of what? 4 minus the plus 8 all over what? And our m is equals to 2 plus or minus the square root of what? 84 all over what? So what is the square root of 84? 84 is like what? 4 by what? 21, right? 4 by 21. So 84 is like 4 multiplied by 21. The square root of that is the same as what? To the square root of what? Square root of 2 the square root of 21. So finally, this is like m equals to what? 2 plus or minus the square root of 2 the square root of 21 all over. So finally, what is our m? So our m is equals to 1 plus or minus the square root of 21 all over 2, right? So you can actually factor out 2. So when you factor out 2 here, then this 2, when you factor out this 2, so it's the same as 2 when you factor out that, so it will be 1 plus or minus the square root of 21. Divide by what? Divide by 4. So these 2 and this one cancel into 2. So it will form something like this. So in Newton, you can write this one as well. M is equals to 1 plus the root of 21 all over 2, comma 1 minus the root of 21 all over 1. So that is how you can solve for everything using quadratic formula. Another example. A 5x minus 2 plus 7 equals to 0. X minus 2 plus 7 equals. So what do you do? How do you solve that? So first of all, you do you open that bracket. So that means you multiply each one of them by 5. So this is 10x, so 5x squared, and this one is minus what? 10x plus 1, 7 equals to 0. So you write in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. So you write in that form. Now, there we've written in that form. So what is our A? So our A equals to 5, our B equals to 10, and our C equals to 7. C equals to 7. So using our formula, in this case, we're looking for x equals to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 1 over 2. Now you can check the kind of solutions that you're going to get by use of discriminant. So on b squared minus 4ac, then our b is minus 10, and then you square. Then minus 4 multiplied by a is 5, multiplied by c is 7. So what happens there? First one is 100, right? The next one is 1. 1. What one?
140.
140. So 100 minus 140 is less than what? 0. What happens there? We have 2
Complex.
complex solutions. So we have 2 complex solutions. So our x equals to minus, our b is minus 10. Plus or minus the square root of b square is minus 10, then you square, minus 4 multiplied by a is 5, multiplied by c is 7, divide by 2 multiplied by a is 5. So our x equals to open this bracket, so it will be 10 plus or minus the square root of 100 minus what? Minus what?
140.
140. Divided by what? This one will give us 10 plus or minus the square root of what? Minus what? 40 all over. And finally, this is our x equals to 10 plus or minus the square root of -1, the square root of 4 multiplied by what? 10, right? Right? Divide by 10. And finally, this is equals to 10 plus or minus. The square root of -1 is 5. The square root of what? And then we have what? The square root of 4 is 2 there. And then 10 inside there. All over what? All over 10. So what is our final answer there? We factor out what? 2. We factor out 2. So finally, our x will now be equals to, when we factor out 2 and then we divide by 2 in each one of them, then we get what? 5 plus or minus I, the square root of 10. All over what? Over 5. Any question up to that? So that is our solution. So in Newton, you just separate with our. Any question up to that? So the only thing you need to remember here is this signs here. So make sure you don't forget, because b in this case is -10. So you bring that b here, -10, and then when you multiply it by that negative, then it becomes what? Positive. Okay, let's do the last example before we break. So 1/2n squared plus 3/4n equals -1/12. Solve that one by use of quadratic formula. What is our A? What is our B? What is our C? So our A is equals to 1/2. Our B is equals to, what is our C? Our C is equals to, our C is equals to 1/what? 1/12. Since we want to form this one into the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. That means we bring the c to this other side. Okay. So when we bring c here, it becomes what? Plus. Becomes plus. That is. Now, you can check whether it will give you a complex, distinct, or one solution, or you can just go directly and use a quadratic formula to get that. So we are looking for what? N. N is equals to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So our n equals to minus, our b is 3/4. Plus or minus the square root of our b is 3/4 square minus 4. Our a is 1/2. Our c is 1/12. Divide by what? 2. And our a is 1/2. 1/2. So our n equals to minus 3/4 plus or minus the square root of what? 3/4 square is what? 9/what? 60. Minus this 4 and this will cancel. It will be 2. This 2 and this one will cancel. It will be what? 1/what? 6. 1/6, right? Right? So this 2 and that will be cancelled, it will be 2. 2 and 12 will cancel, it will be 6, so 1/6. Divide by what? This 2 and that will cancel. It will be divided by 1. 1/1. And finally, our n equals to minus 3/4 plus or minus the square root of, what is our least common factor there? What is the LCM of 16 and 6? 16 and 6. So 16, 6. 2 for what? 8, 3. 3 for 8, 3, 1. And then 8 there for 1, 1. So 8, 24 by 2 is what? 48, right? Or least common factor there is 48. Did you see what I did? So how you can look for your least common factor there? So you actually look for the multiples, the factors. So what divides both of them here is what? You start from the smallest, is 2, right? So when you divide this and that, you get 8, and what? Here is what? 3. What next? You can take 2. 2 divides 8, you get 4, and here it doesn't divide, so it still remains the same. You can take another 2 there, 2, 3. You can take another 2, 1, 3. And finally, you take your 3, 1, 1. And then to get your least common multiple, then you multiply all these ones. You multiply all these ones. So 3 by 3. So how many 3s are here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 4 raised to 2 raised to 4 is. So these are 4, 16. 16 by 3 is what? 48, right? So that is our least common multiple there, 48. So 48 divided by 16 is what? 3. 3 multiplied by 9 is 27. Minus 48 divided by 6 is 8. So 8. So 27 minus 8 is, so what is 27 minus 8? 27 minus 8 is what? 19, right? So, n equals to minus 3 over 4 plus or minus the square root of 19 all over 40. So you can still simplify this, or you can just leave it. You can just leave it. Any question after that? You still have like 3 minutes. Still have 3 minutes. Yeah, it is. Okay. So where I gave you a quiz over the week for the weekend. Let me have it. Then I have another one for you. It is due on Wednesday. So you have an issue with the Reddit email me. So it is due on Wednesday.
I put my name on one of the quizzes.
Okay, you can.
Okay.